Hey there, growth seekers. Welcome back to another inspiring episode of the Growing Forward podcast, where we talk all about personal growth, fulfillment, and unlocking your true potential. I'm your host, Jonathan.
And I'm Janelle. We're so excited to have you with us today. This podcast is all about helping you take those small but meaningful steps toward becoming the best version of yourself.
If this episode resonates with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube.
Okay, Jonathan, let's kick things off.
Ready for a deep dive into resilience? We're going to be talking about what it actually is and what it isn't T. But most importantly, how you can actually build it. We've got three incredible sources with us today: the American Psychological Association, APA for short, Therapist Aid, and Life Hack. And each one, I think, is going to bring something different to the table. So I think this is going to be a really exciting deep dive.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. We've got a lot to talk about. It's like having three different lenses to look at this idea of resilience.
I like that.
Yeah.
Three different perspectives. Okay, so the APA kicks things off by saying that resilience is ordinary, not extraordinary. And they even use the response to 9/11 as an example, pointing out how everyday people demonstrate it, like remarkable resilience.
Right. And I think that's interesting because, it really highlights how resilience is not about being superhuman or, never feeling bad. The APA makes it clear that distress is a normal human response to difficult situations.
It's more about how you cope and adapt.
Right.
Therapist Aid uses the analogy of bouncing back, but I think it's more nuanced than that. Like, it's not just about springing back to your original shape, but like using those experiences to grow and evolve.
Right. I like that you mentioned growth because Therapist Aid really focuses on the importance of mindset in building resilience. They actually highlight 4 key mindset shifts that can help us navigate challenges more effectively.
Okay, I am all ears. Mindset shifts. Tell me more.
So the first one is focusing on what you can control. And they use a really great example: job loss. So let's say you get laid off. It's very easy to feel overwhelmed and powerless in that situation. But Therapist Aid encourages us to ask ourselves, what aspects of this situation are within my control?
Yeah, that is such a practical question, because even in a situation like job loss, there are still things that you can control, right? Like your attitude, your job search strategy, the skills that you choose to develop.
Exactly. It's about shifting your focus from what you can't control to what you can, which empowers you to actually take positive action. The next mindset shift they talk about is adopting a growth mindset.
Ah, the growth mindset. I've heard about this. So this is about seeing challenges as opportunities for learning and development rather than roadblocks.
Exactly. And they connect it right back to the job loss example. Instead of dwelling on the negative, someone with a growth mindset might see this as a chance to pursue a career that they're truly passionate about, or to acquire new skills that will make them even more marketable.
It's like you're turning a setback into a springboard. I can see how that kind of perspective would be essential for resilience. Okay, so what's the next mindset shift?
The next one is facing your fears head on instead of avoiding them. And Therapist Aid points out that it's tempting to shy away from, uncomfortable emotions or situations, but ultimately that avoidance keeps us stuck.
So it's about leaning into the discomfort, even if it feels counterintuitive.
Precisely. They use the example of someone who has lost their job and is avoiding reflecting on their mistakes because it's painful. But by actually facing those fears and honestly evaluating what went wrong, they can learn from the experience and make better choices in the future.
It's like that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not about ignoring the fear. It's just about recognizing that growth often happens outside of our comfort zones.
Exactly. And the final mindset shift that Therapist Aid emphasizes is knowing your values. When you have a clear understanding of what truly matters to you, it gives you an anchor in the storm, right?
Right. I can see how that would be so helpful.
Yeah.
So if you know what you stand for, it's easier to make decisions and take actions that align with those values, even when things get tough.
They actually contrast this with someone who might feel lost and directionless during a challenging time because they haven't taken the time to define their values. So, for example, someone who really highly values family might use that as motivation to find a new job after being laid off.
Right, so it's not just about having values, it's about consciously connecting with them.
Yes.
And using them as a guiding force.
Absolutely. And these 4 mindset shifts provide, I think, a really solid foundation for building resilience. And it's interesting to see how these tie into some of the practical strategies that are offered by our other sources. The APA outlines 4 core components for building resilience: connection, wellness, healthy thinking, and meaning. So let's start with connection.
Connection. That makes sense, right? Humans are social creatures, so it seems logical that strong relationships would play a role in resilience.
Both APA and Lifehack highlight the importance of prioritizing relationships. And it's interesting, they point out that it doesn't have to be about having a huge circle of friends. Even small, meaningful interactions can contribute to, a sense of belonging and support.
Oh, okay. So it's quality over quantity when it comes to connections.
It seems so. And they also emphasize the value of joining groups with shared experiences, whether it's a hobby group, a support group, or even just a group of colleagues who get together for lunch. These connections can provide a sense of community and shared understanding.
I can definitely see how that would be beneficial, especially during tough times. It's like having a built-in support system
Exactly.
to help you navigate those rough waters.
Yeah.
So, what about the second component? Wellness.
Wellness is all about taking care of your physical and mental health. And the APA really stresses the mind body connection, pointing out that resilience isn't just mental, it's physical too. Getting enough sleep, eating nutritious foods, and engaging in regular exercise are all crucial for building resilience.
Oh, it's like taking a holistic approach to well-being. Like, you can't neglect one aspect and expect to thrive in others.
Exactly. And both the APA and Therapist Aid mention the importance of mindfulness practices, whether it's meditation, deep breathing exercises, or simply taking a few moments to connect with your senses. These practices can help calm your mind and manage stress more effectively.
So it's about equipping yourself with the tools and practices to weather those inevitable storms that life throws our way.
I like that analogy.
I try. So what's next?
Okay, so the third component is healthy thinking. And this really focuses on those thought patterns that can either support or sabotage our resilience.
So this is where those mindset shifts we talked about earlier come into play.
Exactly. The APA suggests specific strategies for cultivating healthy thinking, like keeping things in perspective, accepting change, and maintaining a hopeful outlook. They even share a really powerful anecdote about learning from past struggles.
Ooh, tell me more about that anecdote.
It's about recognizing that every challenge you overcome adds to your resilience toolkit. It's like each experience, even the difficult ones, provides you with valuable lessons and coping mechanisms that you can draw upon in the future.
Like building up a mental muscle memory for resilience.
Yes.
The more you practice, the stronger you become. Okay, so what about the final component? Meaning.
Meaning is all about finding purpose and connecting to something larger than yourself. And both the APA and Lifehack emphasize the importance of helping others, which might seem kind of counterintuitive, but focusing on the needs of others can actually boost your own resilience.
It's like that saying, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Exactly. It's about shifting your focus outwards and recognizing that you have something valuable to offer the world. They also talk about proactive goal setting, even if it's just taking small steps towards something that matters to you.
And Therapist Aid touches on this too, right? It's about setting realistic goals and breaking them down into manageable steps.
That's right.
So you don't feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. And the ATA closes this section with, I think, a really insightful point. Self-discovery through struggle. It's like sometimes you need to go through tough times to truly understand yourself and what you're capable of.
I love that idea. So it's about recognizing that challenges, while difficult, can also be catalysts for growth and transformation. Like that quote, the wound is the place where the light enters you.
That's beautiful, and it speaks to the transformative power of resilience.
Speaking of transformation, I'm really curious about Lifehack's 7 C's model, like a great framework for understanding and building resilience.
It is. It provides a very structured approach, which can be really helpful for those who like clear steps and actionable strategies. And it actually aligns really nicely with those 4 core components that we just discussed from the APA.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about these 7 C's.
Well, we've already touched on one of them, connection. So let's move on to the next one, which is competence. And the C is all about building practical skills and knowledge that can help you tackle challenges effectively.
So it's about feeling capable and equipped to handle whatever comes your way.
Exactly. And this ties back to the APA's emphasis on, healthy thinking and taking proactive steps to manage challenges. And Lifehack points out that competence is often built through experience and practice, and that even small wins can contribute to a sense of mastery.
That makes sense. If you feel like you have the skills and knowledge to navigate a situation, You're more likely to approach it with confidence and like on a sense of agent.
Right.
What's the next C?
Okay, next up is confidence, which kind of builds upon competence. And Light Hack reminds us that confidence isn't about being arrogant or like thinking you're perfect. It's about believing in your ability to learn, grow, and overcome obstacles. They emphasize that small wins matter and that each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to a growing sense of self efficacy.
It's like that saying, confidence is not they will like me. Confidence is I'll be fine if they don't.
That's a great way to put it. It's about developing that inner belief in your ability to handle like whatever life throws at you. And this ties back to the APA's focus on, healthy thinking and maintaining a hopeful outlook.
It seems like these C's are building upon each other, creating like a sort of upward spiral of resilience. Okay, what comes after confidence?
So the next C is character. And this one is all about aligning your actions with your values. Lifehack points out that when you live in accordance with like your core beliefs, it gives you a sense of integrity and inner strength that can help you weather any storm.
This reminds me of what therapist Dade said about knowing your values. It's like when you have that clear sense of what matters to you, it acts as a compass, guiding your decisions and actions even in the midst of chaos.
Exactly. It's about like being true to yourself and living a life that feels authentic and meaningful. And speaking of meaning, that's actually our next C.
Oh, wow. So it seems like Lifehack's model and the APA's components are really interwoven.
They are.
What does Lifehack have to say about meaning?
Well, they echo the APA's emphasis on the importance of helping others. They point out that contribution, or like acts of service, can ironically boost our own resilience. By focusing on the needs of others, we tap into a sense of purpose and connection that transcends our own individual challenges.
It's like that Gandhi quote, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. By giving to others, we actually receive so much in return. What's the next C?
Okay. Next up is coping, which focuses on developing healthy strategies for managing stress and difficult emotions. Lifehack provides some specific examples like exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, and engaging in like creative outlets.
And this connects back to the APA's emphasis on wellness, right? Taking care of our physical and mental health is crucial for resilience.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we all need healthy outlets for stress, and that developing these coping mechanisms can help us navigate difficult emotions more effectively.
Okay, so we've got connection, confidence, character, contribution, and coping. What is the final C?
The final C is control. And this echoes what therapist Dade had to say about focusing on what you can influence. Lifehack reminds us that even in challenging situations, there are always aspects that we have control over. It might be our attitude, our effort, our perspective, or the choices that we make. And by focusing on these areas of control, we empower ourselves to take action and like shape our own experiences.
It's like instead of being a victor of circumstance, you become the architect of your own life.
That's a great way to put it. And it speaks to like the empowering nature of resilience. It's not about being passive or simply enduring hardship. It's about actively engaging with challenges and finding ways to grow and thrive despite them.
I'm really impressed with how comprehensive this 7Cs model is.
Mm.
It seems like it covers all of the key aspects of resilience, from like mindset to action to connection to meaning.
It really does. And it's so interesting to see how it aligns with the APA's 4 core components. It's like they're both like pointing us toward the same destination, just using different maps.
I'm loving this multifaceted approach to understanding resilience. It's like we're getting a 360-degree view of the concept. Before we move on, I think it's important to acknowledge that while these self-help strategies are incredibly valuable, there are times when professional help might be necessary.
Yeah, that's a really important point, and it's something that the APA addresses directly. They do provide guidance on when seeking professional help might be beneficial.
For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed, unable to function as you normally would, or experiencing like persistent symptoms of anxiety or depression, it might be a good idea to reach out to a mental health professional.
And they also emphasize the importance of finding the right fit in terms of like a therapist or support group. It's about finding someone that you feel comfortable with and who understands your unique needs and challenges.
And it's important to remember that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you're committed to your well-being and willing to take steps to improve your life.
Absolutely. It's like you wouldn't hesitate to see a doctor if you had like a physical injury.
Right?
Mental health is just as important.
Speaking of inspiration, I think it's time to shift gears and talk about some like incredible examples of resilience in action. Lifehack shares some really inspiring stories about people who have overcome incredible adversity.
I'd love to hear about those. Who do they highlight?
Well, they talk about J.K. Rowling, the author of the beloved Harry Potter series. Can you believe her first book was rejected by 12 different publishers?
12.
That's incredible.
It's hard to imagine such a successful series almost never seeing the light of day.
Right. And it wasn't just the rejections. She was also struggling financially, dealing with the challenges of being a single mother. But she didn't give up on her dream. She kept writing, kept believing in her story, and eventually found a publisher who saw the magic in her work.
What I find so inspiring about her story is that she didn't just persevere, she actually reframed her experiences. She saw those rejections as opportunities to improve her craft, and she used her personal struggles as fuel for her writing. She said, "It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all."
That's a great quote. It's like, failure's inevitable, but it's how we choose to perceive and respond to those failures that determines our resilience.
Exactly. And her story highlights the importance of having a growth mindset. She didn't let those rejections define her, she used them as stepping stones to success.
What other inspiring examples does Lifehack share?
Okay, well, they also talk about Michael Jordan, who is widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and even H.E. faced setbacks. Can you believe that he was actually cut from his high school varsity team?
What? No way. That's almost unbelievable, considering how successful he became.
Right, but instead of letting that experience define him, he used it as fuel to work even harder. He honed his skills relentlessly, putting in countless hours of practice, and it's a testament to the power of hard work and dedication.
His famous quote about missing over 9,000 shots and losing almost 300 games really highlights that point.
Right. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about embracing it as part of the journey.
Exactly. He didn't let those missed shots or losses discourage him. He saw them as opportunities to learn and grow, and he used them to fuel his determination to succeed.
It's like he embodied that growth mindset we were talking about earlier. He didn't see those setbacks as evidence of his limitations, he saw them as feedback that helped him improve his game. And that's such a crucial lesson for all of us, I think. Resilience isn't about being perfect. It's about getting back up when you fall, learning from those experiences, and using them to, propel you forward.
I'm really inspired by these stories. They show that resilience isn't some magical quality that some people are born with. It's a skill that can be developed through effort, perseverance, and a willingness to learn from our experiences. But, I'm curious, what about those times when we're really struggling? When, even with the best mindset and strategies, things still feel incredibly difficult?
Yeah, that's a valid point. And it's something that the APA addresses directly. They provide guidance on when seeking professional help might be beneficial.
For example, if you're feeling overwhelmed, unable to function as you normally would, or struggling with basic activities of daily living, it might be a good idea to reach out to a mental health professional. They can offer support, guidance, and evidence-based therapies that can help you navigate those challenging times.
And it's also important to remember that there's no shame in seeking help. It's actually a sign of strength and self-awareness. It shows that you're committed to your well-being and willing to take steps to improve your life.
Absolutely. Taking care of our mental health is just as important as taking care of our physical health. And, just as there are different treatments for different physical ailments, there are different approaches to mental health. It's about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. And seeking professional help can provide you with valuable tools and strategies for building resilience and navigating life's challenges more effectively.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive on resilience. We explored the definition of resilience, debunked some common myths, and delved into powerful mindset shifts, practical strategies, inspiring examples, and the importance of seeking help when needed.
It's been quite a journey so far, and we still got so much more to explore. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll be diving deeper into those inspiring examples of resilience, unpacking the transformative power of adversity, and exploring how to apply those lessons learned to our present lives.
So let's pick up where we left off and dive deeper into those inspiring examples.
Okay, sounds good. You mentioned J.K. Rowling and Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Their stories are truly remarkable.
They are. J.K. Rowling's journey to publishing the first Harry Potter book?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just a testament to perseverance. Can you imagine facing rejection after rejection from publishers, struggling financially, dealing with the challenges of being a single mother,
All right.
all while pursuing your dream?
It's mind-boggling to think that such a beloved series almost never saw the light of day.
Right.
But what really strikes me is her perspective. She didn't see those rejections as a sign of failure,
Yeah.
but as opportunities to refine her craft.
It's a powerful reminder that success so often comes after a series of setbacks. It's about learning from those experiences, adapting, just keeping going. I love that quote that you shared earlier about her saying, "It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all."
That quote really encapsulates
Yeah,
the essence of resilience. It's not about avoiding failure.
right.
It's about embracing it as part of the growth process.
And then there's Michael Jordan, a legend in the world of
Oh,
basketball.
yeah,
But even he faced setbacks early on.
he did.
Being cut from his high school varsity team, that could have been devastating. But instead of letting that define him, Jordan used it as fuel to work even harder.
Yeah.
He was relentless in his pursuit of excellence, honing his skills through countless hours of practice. It's a testament to the power of hard work. His famous quote about missing over 9,000 shots and losing almost 300 games speaks volumes about his mindset. He didn't let those setbacks define him. He viewed them as opportunities to learn, to grow, to come back even stronger.
Like he turned those failures into data points,
Yeah,
using them to refine his game
but like that.
and ultimately achieve greatness.
Wow.
His story shows that resilience is not just about mental toughness, but also about embracing a growth mindset and putting in the work.
Yeah, it's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, even when you face setbacks, and even when you doubt yourself.
Right.
And speaking of doubt, I think it's important to acknowledge that while these inspiring examples
Right.
can uplift us,
Yeah,
there are times when we all struggle,
we do.
when those self-help strategies we discussed earlier just don't seem to be enough.
Right. Resilience is not about being superhuman or never experiencing negative emotions.
Right.
It's about having the tools and resources.
Exactly. And sometimes those resources include seeking professional help. Remember, there is no shame in reaching out for support when you need it.
No,
In fact, it's a sign of strength and self-awareness.
it is a sign of strength.
The APA provides valuable guidance on when seeking professional help might be beneficial.
They do.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, unable to function as you normally would, or experiencing persistent symptoms of, anxiety or depression, reaching out to a mental health professional can make a world of difference.
It's like having a trusted guide to help you navigate those rough waters. They can offer support, guidance, and evidence-based therapies that can equip you with the tools you need to build resilience
Yes.
and reclaim your well-being.
And just like we talked about, finding the right fit when it comes to relationships.
Yes.
It's equally important to find the right therapist. It's about finding someone you feel comfortable with, who understands your unique needs and challenges. It's about finding someone who can meet you where you are and help you get to where you want to be. And remember, you are not alone on this journey.
You're not.
There are people who care, resources available, and strategies you can learn to navigate even the most difficult challenges.
Absolutely. Reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness.
And speaking of journeys, I think it's time we circle back to that powerful concept the APA introduced, self-discovery through struggle.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
me too.
It's about recognizing that adversity, while challenging, can also be a catalyst for growth and self-understanding.
It's like those intense pressure situations forge resilience in much the same way that pressure and heat create diamonds.
I love that. So we might find creative solutions that we wouldn't have considered otherwise.
Right.
Forge deeper connections with others, or develop a newfound appreciation for the simple things in life.
It's like the saying goes, smooth seas don't make skillful sailors.
Oh, I like that.
It's the challenges we face that help us develop our resilience, our strength, and our character.
And while we don't actively seek out adversity, we can choose to embrace it as an opportunity
Absolutely.
for growth and transformation.
We can't.
It's about shifting our perspective from seeing challenges as roadblocks to seeing them as stepping stones.
It's about recognizing that even in the midst of difficulty, there are lessons to be learned, insights to be gained, and opportunities for growth.
I love how you framed that. It's not about denying the pain or hardship of adversity, but about choosing to focus on the potential for growth and transformation that lies within those experiences.
Exactly. It's about adopting a growth mindset, embracing the lessons learned, and using those experiences to build a more resilient and fulfilling life.
This reminds me of that quote by Viktor Frankl. When we are no longer able to change a situation, We are challenged to change ourselves.
That's a powerful quote. And it speaks to the heart of resilience about recognizing that while we may not always be able to control our circumstances,
Right.
we can always choose how we respond to them.
We can choose to let adversity define us, or we can choose to use it as fuel for growth and transformation.
And that choice, that act of choosing our response,
Yes.
is where our true power lies.
So, as we wrap up this second part of our deep dive, I want to encourage our listeners to reflect on their own journeys.
Think about those times when you faced adversity, those moments of struggle, those challenges that tested your limits.
What did you learn from those experiences? What strengths did you discover within yourself? What strategies helped you navigate those difficult times?
And most importantly, how can you apply those lessons learned to your current life? How can you use those experiences to build greater resilience, strength, and well-being?
Because remember, resilience is not a destination, it's a journey. And you are not alone on this path.
There are resources available, people who care, and strategies you can learn to navigate even the most challenging storms. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep building that resilience muscle.
It's amazing how much we've uncovered already. From the power of mindset shifts to those inspiring stories of people like, J.K. Rowling and Michael Jordan who turned setbacks into triumphs.
Yeah, it's like we've assembled this resilience toolkit
Yes.
filled with practical strategies and inspiring example. And now it's time to explore how we can actually put those tools to use in our own lives.
Exactly. And, I'm particularly intrigued by this idea of post-traumatic growth.
Yeah,
It seems almost counterintuitive, but research suggests that it's possible to not only bounce back from adversity, but to actually grow and thrive
right.
in its aftermath.
It's a fascinating concept.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it challenges this assumption that trauma inevitably leads to damage or dysfunction.
Right.
Instead, it suggests that adversity can be a catalyst for profound personal transformation.
So it's not about denying the pain or minimizing the impact of trauma, but about recognizing the potential for growth and positive change that can emerge from those experiences.
Precisely. It's about acknowledging that even in the darkest of times, there are seeds of resilience waiting to be nurtured. It's like that saying, the lotus flower blooms most beautifully from the mud.
I love that analogy. It speaks to the transformative power of resilience. So, what does post-traumatic growth actually look like? How does it manifest in people's lives?
Well, research suggests that people who experience post-traumatic growth, they often report a deeper appreciation for life, stronger relationships, a greater sense of personal strength, a heightened sense of purpose, and even spiritual growth.
Wow. So it's like they've gained a new perspective, like a newfound appreciation for the preciousness of life and a deeper understanding of their own strength and resilience.
And it's important to note that post-traumatic growth doesn't mean that people forget or minimize their traumatic experiences. It's not about erasing the pain,
Right.
but about finding meaning and purpose in its aftermath.
It's about integrating those experiences into their life narrative and using them as fuel for positive change. It's about recognizing that while trauma can leave scars, those scars can also become symbols of strength and resilience.
I like how you framed that. It's about recognizing that even broken things can be beautiful, that even in our imperfections, we can find wholeness and strength,
That's a good one.
right?
But I'm curious, how can we actively foster post-traumatic growth? Are there specific strategies that can help us cultivate this kind of transformation?
That's a great question. And while there's no one-size-fits-all answer, research does suggest that certain practices can support post-traumatic growth. For example, journaling.
Oh, journaling.
Journaling can be a really powerful tool for processing emotions, exploring meaning, and identifying patterns of growth.
Right. Because it can help us make sense of our experiences and identify those moments of strength and resilience that we might otherwise overlook.
Right.
It's like creating a written record of our growth journey.
And it's not just about writing about negative experiences. It's also about, celebrating the small wins, acknowledging the progress made, and focusing on the things that we're grateful for.
Gratitude is such a powerful practice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It helps us shift our focus from what's wrong to what's right,
Yeah,
what we lack to what we have.
absolutely.
And it's not about denying the challenges, but about actively cultivating a sense of appreciation for the good things in our lives.
And in addition to journaling and gratitude, connecting with others who have experienced similar challenges can be incredibly healing and empowering, whether it's through support groups or therapy or sharing our stories with trusted friends and family. Those connections can remind us that we're not alone.
It's about creating a space for shared understanding, empathy, and mutual support.
Yeah,
It's about recognizing that in our shared vulnerability, we find strength.
I love that. It's like that saying, the wound is the place where the light enters you. When we share our wounds with others in a safe and supportive environment, we allow that light to shine in and illuminate the path forward.
And speaking of paths forward, I think it's time we revisited that final thought-provoking question we posed earlier.
Okay.
The one about reflecting on a past challenge and the lessons we learned from it.
Ah, yes. It's not just about reminiscing, but about actually applying those lessons to our current lives.
Yeah,
Because every challenge we overcome adds to our resilience toolkit.
it's like building a muscle.
Yes,
The more we use it, the stronger it gets.
it does.
So think about a time when you faced a significant obstacle. How did you cope? What strategies did you use? What did you learn about yourself?
Maybe you discovered hidden strengths you never knew you had, or found that you were more resourceful than you thought. Or perhaps you learned the importance of seeking support from others, or developed a new appreciation for the simple things in life.
Whatever the lessons, the key is to extract those nuggets of wisdom
Yes,
and apply them to the challenges we face today.
right.
Because chances are the skills and strategies that helped you overcome past adversity can also help you navigate present and future obstacles.
It's about recognizing those patterns, those strengths, those coping mechanisms that have served you well before, and consciously bringing them to the forefront.
It's like having a mental toolbox filled with resilience tools.
Yeah,
You just need to remember to use them.
exactly. And the more we use them, the more readily available they become. So, as we wrap up this deep dive on resilience, we encourage you to take some time for reflection. Think about those past challenges, those moments of growth, those lessons learned.
Yes.
And then, most importantly, think about how you can apply those insights to your current life. Because resilience isn't a one-time achievement, it's a continuous process
It's a journey.
of learning, adapting, and becoming stronger.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, drawing insights from the American Psychological Association, Therapist Aid, and Life Hack. We encourage you to explore those sources further and see what resonates with you.
Yeah, and as you continue on your own resilience journey, remember this. You are stronger than you think, more capable than you believe, and more resilient than you can imagine.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into resilience. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and actionable strategies to help you navigate life's challenges with greater resilience and grace. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building that resilience muscle.